Imagine waking up tomorrow morning and seeing this headline. Oil prices surge 10% overnight. A few months later, another headline appears. Oil falls to its lowest level in years. At first glance, these may seem like ordinary financial news stories. But behind those numbers lies a world worth trillions of dollars. A world of governments, billion-dollar corporations, investors, wars, political decisions, and global power struggles. Because oil is not just another commodity. Oil is one of the most important resources in modern civilization. Nearly everything around us depends on it. The cars we drive, the planes we fly in, the ships that transport goods across oceans, the factories that produce everyday products. Even many of the items inside your home exist because oil helped make or transport them. This is why economists often refer to oil as the lifeblood of the global economy. Just as blood keeps the human body alive, energy keeps the modern world running. And for over a century, oil has been one of the most important sources of that energy. But here's the question. Who actually decides how much a barrel of oil costs? Is it the oil companies? The United States? Saudi Arabia? Wall Street? The answer is surprisingly complicated, because no single person, company, or country controls the price of oil. Instead, oil prices are the result of one of the largest and most complex economic systems ever created. Most people believe oil prices are determined by a simple rule: supply and demand. And to some extent, that's true. When the world needs more oil than producers can supply, prices rise. When supply exceeds demand, prices fall. Simple. But reality is far more complicated. Because oil markets don't just react to what is happening today, they react to what investors believe might happen tomorrow. Imagine that tensions suddenly rise in a major oil-producing region. Oil production hasn't stopped. Pipelines are still operating. Tankers are still moving. Nothing has actually changed. Yet oil prices begin to rise. Why? Because markets are driven by expectations. Investors aren't buying today's oil, they're pricing tomorrow's risks. If traders believe future supplies could be disrupted, prices can move long before any disruption actually occurs. This is why fear alone can move billions of dollars. And nowhere is that more obvious than in the world of geopolitics. For decades, one organization has played a major role in global oil markets: OPEC, the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries. This group includes some of the world's largest oil exporters. Together, they control a significant portion of global oil production. When OPEC decides to reduce production, less oil enters the market. If demand remains the same, prices usually rise. When production increases, additional supply can push prices lower. Because of this, investors around the world pay close attention to every OPEC meeting. Sometimes, a single announcement can send oil prices moving within minutes. But even OPEC doesn't control everything. Over the last 2 decades, another major player has transformed the global energy market: the United States. For many years, America was heavily dependent on imported oil. Then came the shale revolution. Advances in drilling technology unlocked enormous reserves of oil trapped deep underground. Suddenly, the United States became one of the world's largest oil producers. The balance of power began to shift. Today, production decisions made in Texas can influence energy prices on the other side of the planet. But economics is only part of the story. The real drama begins when politics enters the equation. Because throughout modern history, oil and conflict have often gone hand in hand. Energy is not just an economic resource, it is a strategic asset. Without fuel, military vehicles cannot move, aircraft cannot fly, navies cannot operate, industries cannot function. Modern nations depend on energy for almost everything. And that dependency gives oil enormous geopolitical importance. To understand this, look at a map. There are certain locations that act like the arteries of the global energy system. One of the most important is the Strait of Hormuz, a narrow waterway through which a significant portion of the world's oil supply travels every day. If that route were ever blocked, the consequences could be enormous. Oil prices would likely spike almost immediately, not because oil suddenly disappeared, but because markets would fear future shortages. And fear is often enough. In financial markets, perception can be just as powerful as reality. History provides many examples. In 1973, the world experienced one of the most significant energy crises in modern history. Oil supplies tightened, prices surged. Long lines formed at gas stations across multiple countries. The crisis exposed just how vulnerable modern economies were to energy disruptions. Governments realized that energy security was not simply an economic issue, it was a national security issue. Years later, the Gulf War produced another shock. When Iraq invaded Kuwait in 1990, markets immediately reacted. Oil prices surged as traders feared disruptions to supply. The same pattern has repeated itself many times. Whenever conflict threatens major energy-producing regions, markets become nervous. Prices rise, investors react, governments pay attention. Because oil sits at the intersection of economics, politics, and national security. But there is another force that many people overlook: the financial markets themselves. Every day, billions of dollars worth of oil contracts are bought and sold around the world. Many of the people trading these contracts will never see a single barrel of oil. They are not refiners. They are not producers. They are investors making predictions about the future. Some believe prices will rise. Others believe prices will fall. Together, their decisions create massive waves of buying and selling activity, and those waves influence prices. This means that oil is not priced solely by physical supply and demand. It is also influenced by psychology, by expectations, by confidence, and by fear. A political speech can move markets. A military confrontation can move markets. Even a rumor can move markets, because markets are constantly trying to predict what comes next. In many ways, oil prices act like a real-time report card on the state of the world. Rising prices can signal economic growth, or geopolitical tensions, or supply concerns. Falling prices can indicate weaker demand, slower economic activity, or increased production. Every movement tells a story, and every story reflects the complex forces shaping our world. So the next time you stop at a gas station and fill your tank, remember this: the price you pay is not determined by a single company or a single country. It is the result of millions of decisions being made around the globe. Decisions made by governments, oil producers, investors, central banks, military leaders, and consumers, all interacting inside one of the largest markets in human history. The price of oil is not just a number. It is a reflection of economics, politics, psychology, power, and sometimes even war. And that is why a single barrel of oil can tell us more about the state of the world than almost any other commodity on Earth.